Welcome to Muscles and Magic the Gathering. My name is Bobby Maximus. I am the Muscles. These cards, Magic the Gathering, something that's been a massive passion of mine since literally 1994. You are here because you love Commander, the greatest format in Magic the Gathering history. You are here because you love Universes Beyond. You love Avatar, The Last Airbender, and specifically, you love Sokka, Tenacious Tactician. You want to know how to build an insane Sokka Tenacious Tactician deck. And that's where we're going to start with our hero of the day, Sokka Tenacious Tactician. Now, I am thrilled to be able to build this commander. I'm really looking forward to building this one. And it's funny, I say that about a lot of the commanders in Avatar. I think as far as commander goes, this is one of the best new sets we've seen in years. There are all kinds of legendary commanders I want to build around. But back to the topic of the day, Sokka Tenacious Tactician. It costs one colorless, one blue, one red, and one white. It's got Menace and Prowess. Menace means it can only be blocked by 2 or more creatures. Prowess means whenever you cast a non-creature spell, and in this build, we're going to be casting all the non-creature spells, this creature gets +1/+1 until the end of turn. Other allies you control have Menace and Prowess. That's incredible. And whenever you cast a non-creature spell, create a 1/1 white ally creature token. So I promised you 10 cards that I would put in this deck, but I'm going to give you a lot more. I always underpromise and overdeliver. Get prepared for a lot of bonus content. The actual 10 cards I'm going to show you, we're going to talk about things to take advantage of those ally tokens, and we're going to look at 5 of my favorite non-creature spells ever, with all super low casting costs to fit in this deck. But as always, we're going to start with the bonus content. And I actually want to start with some bonus content from the Avatar set. Obviously, this is going to be an allied-themed deck, so let's look at a couple of my favorite allies. First up, Appa, Steadfast Guardian. Costs 4 mana, flash, flying, and when Appa enters, airbend any number of other target non-land permanents you control. Exile them. While each one is exiled, its owner may cast it for 2 rather than its mana cost. And whenever you cast a spell from exile, create a 1/1 white ally creature token, so a way to get more creature tokens. Earth Kingdom Protectors. Vigilance. Sacrifice this creature. Another target ally you control gains indestructible until the end of turn. So a great way to protect Sokka Tenacious Tactician. You could also do it with the Giver of Runes and Mother of Runes. Suki, Courageous Rescuer and Sokka's lifelong love partner. You know that had to be an include. Human warrior ally. Other creatures you control get +1/+0, so acts as a creature anthem. And whenever another permanent you control leaves the battlefield during your turn, create a 1/1 white ally creature token. This ability triggers only once each turn. Another great way to get some ally tokens. Abandoned Air Temple, a land I love. This land enters tapped unless you control a basic land. You can tap it to add a white mana, and if you pay 4 mana, one of them being white, you put a 1/1 counter on each creature you control. And we're going to have a ton of ally creatures on the board, so this is going to do some real work for us. And then finally, Sokka's sister, Katara, Waterbending Master. Whenever you cast a spell during an opponent's turn, and we're going to be doing that because we're going to have a lot of instants and non-creature spells in this deck, you get an experience counter. And then whenever Katara attacks, you may draw a card for each experience counter you have. If you do discard a card in a game of Commander, you need to pay attention to mana ramp, tutors, and card draw. Those are your 3 keys to victory. So this card, it's going to deal with the card draw aspect of a great Commander deck, and it's got a lot of flavor to add to Sokka Tenacious Tactician. So those are just a couple of allies from the new Avatar set that I would certainly add. Now let's look at some honorable mentions that didn't quite make my list today, but I want to address. We've got one of my favorite instances of all time here, the Price of Progress. Super low casting cost. It only costs 1 colorless and 1 red. Price of Progress deals damage to each player equal to twice the number of non-basic lands that player controls. In a game of Commander, people use a lot of non-basics. This card does some real damage. It's also a low casting cost, and it's a non-creature spell. So we are going to make one of those 1/1 white ally creature tokens. Snap. Return target creature to its owner's hand. Untap up to 2 lands. Another low casting cost instant. We're going to be able to untap up to 2 lands, so it's kind of like we cast it for free, and we are going to make another ally token. Narset's Reversal. Copy target instant or sorcery spell and return it to its owner's hand. You may choose new targets for the copy. Mystical Tutor. Search your library for an instant or sorcery card. We're going to have a lot of instant for sorcery, so you know we had to have a Mystical Tutor in here. Reveal that card, shuffle your library, then put that card on top of it. Flawless Maneuver. If you control a commander, you may cast this spell without paying its mana cost. Creatures you control gain indestructible until the end of turn. It's a way to protect Sokka, but also it's going to trigger and it's going to give us one of those white ally creature tokens. And then a Chroma's Will. If you control a commander, you can choose both of these. Creatures you control gain flying, vigilance, and double strike till the end of turn. Creatures you control gain lifelink, indestructible, protection from all colors until the end of the turn. Another great spell to protect Sokka. In this deck, you want to protect Sokka at all costs. And then the final honorable mention, and when I talk about the top 10 cards we want to put in Sokka today, I'm going to talk a little bit about token generators, if you will. This isn't a token generator, but this card in this deck is going to be bonkers. If one or more creature tokens you would be created under your control, that many 4/4 white angel creature tokens with flying and vigilance are created instead. So every time we create one of those 1/1 white ally creature tokens, instead, we're going to create a 4/4 white angel with flying. Love this card in any deck that deals with tokens. Now, for my top 10, we are going to start with those token generators, if you will. First one, Mondrak, Glory Dominus. If one or more tokens would be created under your control, twice that many of those tokens are created instead. And then we can sacrifice 2 other artifacts or creatures and make this indestructible. So every time we make 1 token, we are going to make 2. Ojurtak, Deepest Foundation. Vigilance. If one or more creature tokens would be created under your control, 3 times that many of those tokens are created instead. When it dies, transform it. And if we transform it, it's going to turn into the Temple of Civilization. You can add a white mana, or you could pay some mana and transform it again. But we are going to want to keep it on the Ojurtak Deepest Foundation side because we want triple the tokens, triple the fun. The OG of token generators, Anointed Procession. If an effect would create 1 or more tokens under your control, creates twice that many tokens instead. Now the budget version of that, and I love this card, Renewed Solidarity, one of the best cards from the Ether Drift set. As this enchantment enters, choose a creature type. We're obviously going to choose allies. Creatures you control, the chosen type, get +1/+0, so it's creature anthem. And then at the beginning of your end step, for each token you control, the chosen type that entered this turn, create a token that's a copy of it. If you have any type of kinfolk tribal type deck, this card is your budget Anointed Perception, or Anointed, not Perception, Procession. And it is honestly one of the best Magic cards in the game for that type of thing. I love Renewed Solidarity. One last card, Elspeth Storm Slayer. If 1 or more tokens would be created under your control, twice that many tokens are created instead. +1, create a 1/1 white soldier creature token. I wish that was allies. It's not. The 0 ability, put a 1/1 counter on each creature you control. This is huge. Those creatures gain flying until your next turn. And then the -3 ability, destroy target creature an opponent controls with mana value 3 or greater. So some great token enablers, token generators, whatever you want to call them. So that's how we're going to create a ton of these ally creature tokens, right? But we're going to have to create them in the first place. That's how we're going to take advantage of them, if you will. But we need some great non-creature spells. And here are 5 of my favorites with super low casting costs, all right? First one is Gitaxian Probe. Super underrated, super underutilized. Look at target player's hand, draw a card, and we can literally pay just 2 life for this spell. I want all kinds of low casting non-creature spells or low casting cost non-creature spells in this deck. So Gitaxian Probe, it fits the bill. And here's the deal. Being able to draw a card is massive, but also being able to look at a player's hand. This is the ultimate game of strategy. If you know what your opponent has, you can predict their next play. Huge card. Opt. It only costs 1 mana. You're going to scry 1. That means you're going to look at the top card of your library. You can put that card on the bottom, so it allows you to sort through your deck, and you're going to draw a card. And again, it only costs 1 mana. And awesome with Opt, it's a budget card, so it's going to fit in your deck, and everyone can afford it. Along those same lines, Ponder. Look at the top 3 cards of your library. Put them back in any order. You may shuffle, and you draw a card, another 1-drop, that's going to help you create a white ally creature token. In the same vein, Brainstorm. Draw 3 cards, then take 2 cards from your hand and put them on top of your library in any order. So great for card sorting, great for card draw, and it's going to trigger Sokka. And then finally, Preordain. So sorcery, scry 2, draw a card. Lots of card draw, lots of creating these white ally creature tokens, and for a super low casting cost. So this is how you're going to build this deck. You're going to want a ton of these low casting cost instants and sorceries so you can make all the allies. You're going to want a bunch of these token doublers and triplers, and then you're going to want a few key creatures in the deck. There are decks that I build that are heavy on creatures, 30 creatures, 35 creatures. I did a Winota Joiner of Forces deck where I did 48 creatures. For a deck like this, I might only choose to put 10 to 12 creatures in the deck, and everything else is going to be an instant or sorcery, because every single time I cast that spell, I am going to create one of those creature tokens. And if I've got the token doublers and triplers out, I'm going to make a bunch of these things. So that is the play with Sokka. As a quick review, and after that, I'm going to show you some special bonus content. So stay tuned. I almost couldn't talk there. I apologize. Divine Visitation, Chronos Will, Flawless Maneuver, Mystical Tutor, Narcit's Reversal, Snap, and the Pride of Progress. We've got some great flavored Avatar allies here. Katara, Waterbending Master, Abandoned Air Temple, Suki, Earth Kingdom Protectors, and Appa, Steadfast Guardian. We've got all our token doublers and triplers, Mondrick, Odretalk, Anointed Procession, Renewed Solidarity, and Elspeth. I'm laughing because imagine you had all 5 of those out, how many tokens you would get. Bananas. Gitaxian Probe, Opt, Ponder, Brainstorm, and Preordain. But we're not going to stop there. I always under-promise and over-deliver. So here's some other spells you could throw in this deck. A Jeska's Will, always useful, super powerful card in Magic. A Lightning Bolt, the ultimate 1-drop instant, and maybe the most perfect Magic card of all time ever created. Frantic Search, draw 2 cards, then discard 2 cards and untap up to 3 lands. You're essentially going to play this one for free. A Goblin Electromancer to make your instant and sorcery spells cost less. I mentioned we're going to have 10 to 12 creatures. Maybe a creature like this. Whenever you cast or copy an instant or sorcery spell, you draw a card. More card draw in a deck like this is going to be heavy on instants and sorceries. Super usable. The Storm Kiln Artist, same type of thing. Let's just create a treasure token every time we cast an instant or sorcery along with those allies, right? High Tide, it's a 1-drop, and until end of turn, all islands produce an additional mana when tapped for mana. The Isochron Scepter. Let's copy some spells and cast them so we can continually make white ally creature tokens. We have a ton of instants and sorceries in here, and this would be better if it was an ally. this still has a place in this deck. Any deck you have a lot of instants and sorceries, the Delver of Secrets at the beginning of your upkeep, look at the top of your library, reveal that card if it's an instant or sorcery, is revealed, transform this creature, it turns into a 3/2 flyer. Storm Splitter, great card. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery, create a token that's a copy of Storm Splitter. Exile that token at the beginning of the next end step. We're going to be creating a lot of instant or sorcery. So if you're not really into the whole ally theme, right, this is going to be an ally theme deck because you're creating those tokens. But there's not a lot of super powerful allies in Magic the Gathering. Not enough for my liking. So you're looking to fill this with creatures. Storm Splitter, great option. Bria, Riptide Rogue, another great option for this deck. Other creatures you control have prowess. We're already going to have those anyway. But whenever you cast a non-creature spell, target creature you control can't be blocked this turn. The Stormcatch Mentor. Instant and sorcery spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. We have a dramatic reversal. Untap all non-land permanents you control. We have an Archmage of Runes, another cost reducer for our instants or sorceries and card draw. And then finally, Lear, Disciple of the Drowned. Each instant and sorcery card in your graveyard has flashback. That means we can cast it from the graveyard. Along that note, a Snapcaster Mage would also be incredible in a Sokka deck. This deck is going to be a blast. The total mana value of the deck is going to be insanely low. It's going to move extremely, extremely fast. You can fill it with all kinds of powerful cards. You can go in a bunch of different directions. Like blue and red are going to have all the instants that you're going to need. You could throw in a Swords to Plowshares or a Path to Exile in white. You could throw in a bunch of stacks, low casting cost creatures, Drannith Magistrate, Grand Abolisher, an Esper Sentinel, and you are off to the races. Sokka, Tenacious Tactician. And you heard it here first. Everyone's talking about Fire Lord Azula, and I was too. I think that thing has some CEDH legs, or at least high-level bracket 4 play. But there is an argument to be made that Sokka, Tenacious Tactician, could be the most powerful commander we see in this new Avatar set. That remains to be seen, but certainly so far, it is looking good. So there you go. Sokka, Tenacious Tactician, a bunch of cards. How many cards did I give you today, by the way? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37. I promised you 10. You got 37. You are almost there building your deck. Like I said, you throw in a couple of talismans. You throw in a Path to Exile. You throw in a Swords to Plowshares. A couple other things. You are off to the races. So with that, we are done. Sokka, Tenacious Tactician, do me a favor. Subscribe. Smash that like button. I am dedicated to making this the biggest, the best, the most positive Magic the Gathering channel in the multiverse. And if there's any cards you would add to this deck, put them in the comments below. I would love to see them. Check out all the content on the channel. I make it for you. And enjoy Muscles and Magic the Gathering.